Oh,
Are you live?
we are live, hopefully.
Which one is that?
This
Okay.
is YouTube and the Facebook group, which, hopefully.
Here, by the way.
Hi.
We'll just wait for a few people to come on. I know I never give like specific times, but that's because our lives are kind of crazy.
We don't even know ourselves.
No, we don't.
It's just a mystery. What's your finger there?
Oh, why?
Because you're blocking.
Oh, okay. So we have like 2 cameras here going at the same time. We're going to talk about digestion today, guys. So if you have questions about digestion, shoot them here. They can't be personal digestion questions like, I have this, what should I do? We can't do that.
Hypotheticals,
yeah,
right?
Let's do like hypotheticals here.
Hypothetically speaking, if a person that is not me had this thing going on.
Yes. What should you do?
Or what would be some ideas?
Right.
Now, but we do need to cover some really basic stuff that might answer a lot of questions.
And that's what we're going to do. But throw out your questions anyway. We'll scroll up and we will we'll try and help or whatever. Let's bring this camera up.
Here.
Yeah, so that they're not looking up our noses. There we go. And I'm wondering how I can do this so that I can leave the camera floating without touching it, because I like to use hand gestures a lot to explain things. All right, guys, let's get into digestion. Why do so many Americans have digestive issues? I have a lot of reasons why. We did a podcast episode on this, you guys, and it's called, what's it called, Tristan? Do you remember?
No, just go to mygutsyhealth.com/blog and search digestion. You'll see it.
Yeah. How are you staying so positive? Oh my gosh, we can talk about that at the end. You guys, like, this isn't a scary time of life. I've been doing so much processing, and like, I can't say it's not a scary time of life because there's transitions and it's hard. We can talk about this at the end if we have time. But like,
I can tell you for myself, I already went through my high anxiety freak out earlier this year, and so by the time this whole thing hit, I had already kind of come out the other side.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of done with the fear stuff. And that's because I've just been putting so much work into keeping my head in a good space.
Yeah.
And it's not something that just happens by default. I used to be that kind of, everything was happy and positive, and I only saw the optimism side of life. And then cancer came and all of that fun stuff that goes with it. And that I suddenly lost that privilege of just having the default of happiness. And ever since then, it's something that takes work for me. And I put a lot of work into it. And it takes discipline in the sense of I have to really pay attention to the types of thoughts I'm having and catch the ones that are not helpful to me before they spiral into a full-on panic attack.
Right.
Because I've been there a lot, way more than I ever wanted to. So
let's talk about digestion, and then we can do all the chit-chat stuff at the end.
When you're anxious all the time, it messes with your digestion. So bam, here we are.
Okay, so I'm just trying to read these questions, or it could be nagging pain, bruise from inside, type of pain. Okay,
let's do our thing, and then we'll answer questions.
Yeah, we will.
So maybe hold off on your questions, because by the time we get to them, they'll have disappeared off the top of the screen. So
we're okay. If you want to listen into depth about how we got here as a society on really bad digestion, go back and listen to our podcast episode where we talk about like how there are foods that we eat on the daily that are literal poison to us. That, there is that debate of glyphosate is not dangerous. You guys, how do we sit here in this first world country with all of our health issues and say we're totally fine? So we are literally spraying our crops with poisonous substances called glyphosate. We're eating inflammatory foods. Imagine this, and this is why so many kids are having digestive issues too. Certain foods are like sandpaper on the inside of your intestines, right? Now that over and over every single day is going to cause pain and inflammation and indigestion, bloat and gassiness. And that inflammation over and over and over is going to lead to allergy type symptoms and then eventually allergies to certain foods, right? So when people, and I saw someone like, why would my kid be having stomach pains? It's because they're eating something they're probably becoming allergic to now. An allergy you don't just like wake up with overnight. Some people, some kids are probably born with it. Who knows what happened in utero? I don't know. But like certain allergies, you have full blown anaphylactic shock, right? But then most allergies, I would say like 90% of allergies happen over like the period of years where you expose yourself to a certain food that creates that kind of sandpaper effect on your gut over and over and over again. And the immune system says, you know what? Every time this substance enters the body, it's creating pain. So now we're going to tag it and we're going to tag it. And now you have an autoimmune reaction to that food, right?
That's one way. There's also, though, that if you get a bad balance of bacteria and too many pathogenic species down in your lower intestine or your small intestine, then over time that basically wears down the intestinal lining, creates what's known as leaky gut, where little bits of food are able to escape out of the intestine into the bloodstream, and then the immune system picks up on those because proteins shouldn't be in the bloodstream, right? Proteins are dangerous because they contain DNA. And if you've got free DNA roaming around the body, it could get encoded into things, and then who knows what your body creates from that, right?
The kids really fast.
So your body tags those foreign proteins there.
Sorry, we have like two cameras.
This is why your phone is not a good camera. Right. Okay. And because that happens, they say we need to make sure that this foreign invader never comes back again. They create antibodies against it, and then before you know it, that food is no longer good for you. But you've got the straightforward allergy test that will say, hey, if you eat this, you die, right? That's the tree nuts usually, but there's the most common ones. Eggs tend to fall in that category, soy, dairy, all those things. But you also have the lower grade inflammatory foods that are kind of specific to individuals. And they do have tests for this. If you wanted to go that far into it, they're called food inflammation tests. And they will look for an immunoglobulin response, meaning your immune system is reacting to this more than we would expect it to. And those are things that, at least at this point in time, they're not going to do well in your body. Right. But if we don't know about those things and we continue to eat them over and over again, imagine what that's doing to your body.
Let's talk about testing, though, too, because I've had so many people who have in our clinic, in our practice, that you have